We're back on the early edge, and it's time to talk with Calvin Wetzel about the WNBA. Calvin, thank you for joining us. A lot to talk about. I do want to transition right into bets, but I got an initial question to ask you because I'm looking at the Liberty. They're holding a 1.5 game lead over the Dream in the East. Do they hold on to the number one spot?
I think they do. The Dream are without Ryan Howard still, but there is some cause for concern with the Liberty. They're without Brianna Stewart, who has no timetable for return, without Kennedy Burke for about a month. Natasha Cloud has been banged up. So the team very much is not at 100%, and they've dropped three straight. But that being said, they're getting Emma Meesum in soon, and their next four games are against the bottom two teams in the standings. You have a back-to-back against last place Connecticut, and then a back-to-back against second to last place Dallas. So a perfect time for a bounce-back week for them, and I think they're going to go 4-0 in that stretch and give themselves a little bit of a cushion there on that top spot in the East.
All right, let's go to some bets for tonight, Calvin. We got a 5-game slate. I'm going to ask you about your favorite spread, your favorite total, team totals, and your favorite prop. Let's start with your favorite side. We got Chicago hosting the Valkyrie. Talk to me about, we taking the underdog here?
We are going with Golden State in this one, minus 5.5.
Okay.
I've been taking them all year on this show. More on this game in a bit, but the Sky continue to be just decimated. They are without Ariel Atkins. They are without Angel Reese again, their two leading scorers. And even though the Valkyries lost Kayla Thornton to injury a few games ago, they continue to win and cover. It's such a system that they have that's not reliant on any one player. And that's why you see Natalie Nakase at the top of the odds for Coach of the Year. She's the favorite right now, rightfully so. The Sky have no shooting left without Ariel Atkins, and the Valkyries defense loves to pack the paint. They love to play a little bit of zone, and it's just a really bad matchup for the Sky. So I love the Valkyries in this one.
All right, talk to me about your favorite total. We're headed to a 10 o'clock game, Sparks and Storm.
Sparks Storm under 168. Before the last game, the Sparks had scored 90 plus in five straight games, 100 plus in two straight games. And then last game, they only scored 74. And obviously, a lot of that was shooting regression, which they had been due for, but also the return of Cameron Brink making her season debut after that injury. Much more of a defensive player than an offensive player. Great rim protector, great rebounder. Offensively, she does have some upside, but it's going to take her a little while to kind of reintegrate into that offense, shake off some of the rust. So I do think that LA is now sort of becoming a little bit more of a defensive team, and that offense is, you're kind of seeing it regress. Like I said, they were due for that. So I do think that this line is reflecting that stretch where they were in the 90s or over 100 for a few straight games. And against the second best defensive rating in the league, the Seattle Storm, I think this is going to turn into a lower scoring game. So 168, too high of a number for me.
All right, that's our favorite total. It's an under. We go from a general total to a team total under. Talk to me.
Let's go back to that Sky Valkyries game. I said I like the Valkyries on the spread, and I also like Sky team total under 75.5. Talked about how this is a bad matchup for their offense, and they're without their two leading scorers, Ariel Atkins and Angel Reese. I've cashed that team total under twice on the YouTube show with you, Sia, and so let's do it again in this game. We're still getting a good number. The offense is just so devoid of playmaking without those two stars. And last time against the Valkyries, they barely cleared this. They got to 78, and that was with both stars healthy. They got 37 points out of those two. Now they're getting 0 points out of those two because they are going to be in street clothes. So I'm not even sure they get to 70. I definitely don't think they get to 76.
All right, now we move to a favorite player prop on a Friday in the W, Calvin.
We're going with Elizabeth Williams of the Sky under 9.5 points. If you can't tell, I'm fading the Sky offense tonight. I'm very heavy on the Valkyries defense in all forms. I think this is just too high of a line for Elizabeth Williams. Obviously, with Angel Reese out, she's going to be the one stepping into the starting lineup, getting more minutes and more usage, which is why we're seeing a line so much higher than her average. But in three games that Angel Reese has missed so far, Elizabeth Williams started all three of those, played 23 to 27 minutes. She still only averaged 8 true shooting attempts, and she's basically a point per shot attempt type of player. That put her about 8 points, so 9.5 is still too high anyway. And then when you factor in the matchup, like we talked about, the Valks are a very pack the paint type of a team. They're willing to give up that outside shot. They don't want to give up anything easy at the rim, and Ewell really only scores in the paint. She's not a shooter. She gets all of her buckets around the rim. So in that first matchup, she had 17 minutes off the bench, only scored 1 point against this Valkyries defense. I think asking her to get to 10, even with the added minutes in a starting spot, is just going to be too much.
Calvin, we got about a minute or two left, and I do want to reset and maybe just level set, if you will, on where we're at in the WNBA season, because I'm just estimating here, I think we're in like 2/3 the way done of the regular season. Are there any teams at this point that have surprised you enough for you to say, okay, I think this is a team I didn't have my eye on early in the year, but they have a shot to win it all?
I think it's Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix came into the year with a big three of all-stars, and then basically four through the rest of the roster was players that a lot of people hadn't heard of, 26, 27-year-old rookies who they went and got from some overseas teams who maybe didn't even make the league right out of college. And so this looked like a team that was going to really struggle with some depth issues, especially since they had some injuries to those three all-stars. But they are right there, just a game behind the Liberty for second place. They're sitting in third currently, despite some of those injuries. And they've looked really, really good. Those role players have around those stars. Their shooting has been phenomenal. Defensively, they've been locked in. Nate Tibbetts is right behind Natalie Nakase for Coach of the Year because he's done an outstanding job there as well. So if it's not a finals rematch of New York versus Minnesota, I think Phoenix is the team that really could make some noise.
All right. Keep an eye on Phoenix, says Calvin Wetzel. Calvin, thanks for all the picks. Thanks for all the insight. We'll see you very soon. That is a lot of quick hitter WNBA. And you can get some of that content in our Sportsline members only Discord, which of course is free for all Sportsline members. We got WNBA channels, NFL, MLB, NBA, NASCAR, UFC, PGA, you name the sport, and Sportsline has it covered, both at sportsline.com and the Sportsline Discord. So join now if you haven't already.